Aloha. Good morning, everyone. It's Dallas Navarros here in Hawaii, on Oahu, in Honolulu. And I am going to give you all an update of what's going on in Hawaii because I know all of you from munching over on the mainland and from around the world, you're probably just wanting to go on vacation. And you know what? I hear you. You want to come over here. But there are some rules and some guidelines that you need to know about. And I'm actually here at the Daniel K. Inouye International Airport here in Honolulu. And I will say it's pretty quiet for it being 7 o'clock in the morning, as it should. But you really need to listen to what I'm about to tell you right now because this past Thursday, the pre travel testing program went into effect where all passengers who want to visit Hawaii and want to skip that 14-day stay quarantine, they have to take a COVID test and have it be negative, and they have to take it 72 hours in advance and have the results uploaded 24 hours in advance before arrival on the website hawaiicovid19.com. Again, hawaiicovid19.com. That is where the whole process begins if you want to plan on visiting Hawaii. So once you take your test, it comes back negative, and then you upload it, you get a QR code. This little QR code is pretty much your hall pass when you come visit Hawaii. And when you come to the airport, anywhere throughout the state, you're gonna go through a passenger verification system. I'll tell you after this woman right here. All right, thanks. So once you arrive here, you're gonna go through a passenger verification system, which means that we're basically gonna be checking which passengers took their test and came back negative, which passengers took the test and are waiting for results, and which passengers did not take the test and will be doing that 14-day stay quarantine. Now, you probably saw on social media that the lines are pretty long, and it's just going to happen that way. There are still things that need to be worked out. Of course, things could be a little bit better, but that's the situation that we're dealing with right now. And for those of you who don't know, the islands are separated by counties, which means that they have their own set of rules on how they're really handling this situation. And I bring that up because over on Hawaii Island this past weekend, there were 2,800 passengers who arrived over on Hawaii Island. Now, over on Hawaii Island, all passengers have to take an antigen test. Now, those antigen tests can be a little bit faulty, but regardless, out of the 2,800 that were tested, 9 came back positive. Now, those 9 were tested again, and 4 came out truly positive, which means that these are the 4 that are positive out of the 2,800 passengers that arrived here. Now, when you are positive, it becomes a little bit of a different situation. You are isolated and probably tested again. But with that being said, when we look at numbers here, because this whole pandemic experience has been about numbers, right? I mean, let's talk about unemployment. We'll get into that next. But when we look at the numbers, 4 out of 2,800 is less than 1%, which could be maybe a good thing for some people, considering that this is the first weekend of the pre-travel testing program.
For disease control and prevention, recommend social distancing to stop the spread of germs. Please keep 6 feet of distance from others when waiting for your bags or gathering in any area of the airport. Thank you.
Mahalo. Thanks, girl. But like I was saying, 4 out of 2,800 is less than 1%. It could be a good thing for some people, considering that this pre-travel testing program just went into effect this past Thursday, and we really need help on our economy. That could be a good thing. However, it could be a concern for some people because we know that this girl, COVID, works in different ways that we really don't know how. So, for there to be 4, that could be a potential wildfire, it could be a concern, and it could make people feel a little bit uneasy. But nevertheless, it gives us a foundation and a plan of what surveillance testing could look like here on Oahu. Now, today is Monday, October 19th, and surveillance testing does begin here on Oahu. And how it's basically going to work is that the goal is to test 10% of all travelers. And you are going to be actually invited. The passengers who are chosen, they're going to be invited through an email saying like, hey, do you want to help out Hawaii in staying safe? Do you want to be part of the surveillance testing program? Yes or no? And I think it's pretty cool that you do get an option to be a part of the surveillance testing program or not. If you decide not to do it, you could just go to the beach and just forget about it. But if you want to be part of the solution and just help our state out, you could be a part of the surveillance testing program. You'll be given a site. I know Ko'olina is one of the sites, and you'll get tested and you'll get your results. Now, you should technically be negative considering that you just got here with a negative test result, but you just don't know how Corona works, right? So if you show out negative, go ahead and get your poke bowl and go to the beach. But if you come out positive, you're probably going to be isolated and then probably tested again. It becomes a different situation, of course. But we are learning about the surveillance testing here on Oahu, that if you do take part of it, there are some positive incentives. Hawaiian Airlines and Alaskan Airlines just came out saying that they're going to tie in some raffles to the surveillance testing program, which means that you could score some free tickets. And, who knows, maybe there could be other positive incentives that come with surveillance testing. And as it should, because if the state is asking for your time, you might as well give them a little bit of something, right? Shoot, give them like a coupon or something to just thank them for their time. But that's currently what's happening over here on Oahu. Surveillance testing that begins today. It is going to be on an invite only. 10% of all passengers will be tested, and it'll give us just a better idea about this pre-travel testing program and what areas could be worked on. And that brings me to my next topic right here. It's a little bit different from, the tourism that we saw this past weekend, but it's so related to everything right now. And over here on Oahu, we are on this reopening tier system. A lot of states and different counties are doing this. We're divided into a 4-tier system, which means that we move on to the different tiers. Businesses become a little bit more flexible. People can do more things based on the 7-day average COVID case count and the infection rate. Now, we've been in tier 1, which is very limited, but there's still a lot of businesses that are open. It is definitely not normal for people who are coming over here thinking that Hawaii is normal and better shape. We're not in good shape. We have a very high employment rate, but it is what it is. So the fact that we're getting so close to tier 2, we should be hopefully into tier 2 by the end of this week. They've really projected October 22nd to be the first day of tier 2.
All travelers who do not have an exemption are required to stay home or in their hotel room for 14 days after arrival.
That's right. You tell them. You tell them. You tell them. Okay, sorry about that. But like I said, we're getting closer to getting into tier 2, hopefully on October 22nd. That's the day that is set in place. But with Uncle Kirk, Mayor Kirk Caldwell, who is the mayor here on Oahu, the Honolulu mayor, he said that the cases from tourism is going to be accounted to our reopening system. So that could potentially put us a few steps back. That could potentially keep us in tier 1. And who really knows what that could bring. Now, it will bring a little bit of light in the situation. Who really knows? These tourists are supposed to be coming over here negative. Maybe it won't really have a big impact. But if you look at our tier system, it is all about the numbers. And 1 case, 2 cases, 3 cases can make a big difference. Just saying. And when we look at the pandemic experience here in Hawaii, a lot of the cases that we started to see in March and April were related to tourism, which means that people were coming over here having fun, hopefully not being disrespectful like what we're seeing from these privileged social media influencers. But sorry, I got distracted. I feel a little bit passionate about that topic. But we're seeing these tourists coming over here not knowing they were positive, and then us resulting in a shutdown, which is why we've been in this big restriction for such a long time and had that 14-day state quarantine in effect. But like I said, the pandemic experience here in Hawaii, a lot of the cases were related to tourism at the start. Then it kind of chilled out, and then it was us who was the problem. Us residents were hanging out with each other too much, and we caused a surge. And now we're in good shape. We're in good shape for tier 2. I hate to look ahead a little bit more, but we were on track to be good for tier 3. But now with tourism kind of playing in a role, how we reopen up, it makes a lot of people feel anxious. Even me as a resident, makes me feel a little bit nervous on what things could look like in the future. And I know there's an election, we are going to get a new mayor, so who really knows? But we're really going to see how this is going to play out. I mean, it really seems like there's updates and new changes every day, which is why I let you know in the morning from 5 to 9 of what to expect. But let's hang in there. Let's try to really be strict on the guidelines and the rules, especially with people who are coming over here to visit. If you are planning to visit Hawaii, hopefully you watch this video and just know that we are in a very serious situation where we are trying to get back on our feet with this high unemployment rate, with these long food drive lines, and this big uncertainty that is just over the island. And we are happy that tourists are back, and we're happy that residents are able to connect with their family with inter-island traveling. But at the same time, we do really want to do things with precaution and make sure that we're following all the rules and handling everything on a timely manner. So hopefully this video helps and gives you some insight of what Hawaii is going through right now. If you have any comments or questions or want to provide some insight of what you're going through, or if you know someone who is traveling to Hawaii and maybe the situation that they're in, definitely leave it right below. You can hit me up at Dallas with an I at DALLIS with an I.com. I don't know. I'll leave it in the description or whatever. But take care, everyone. Aloha. We'll see you next time. Bye.